friends and seekers and people on the quest to the mysteries of the universe, if I can say so. So 2 weeks passed, and here I am again with you, Xenia, here with your bi-weekly tarot talk related to the current lunation. And the moon we're going to talk about is the new moon in Libra, happening on the 17th or 16th of October, depending on where you are in the world. And yeah, I'm not going to lie, I don't think it's going to be an easy moon. I think it's going to be quite a heavy moon. It is again packed with transits. Like the universe is really telling us that we need to finish our work with Saturn and Pluto, because again, as the previous lunation, the full moon in Aries was square to Saturn in Capricorn. This new moon is happening at 23 degree of Libra, obviously in conjunction with the Sun, and it is opposing the retrograding Mars at 20 degrees Aries, and it is squaring Pluto at something like 20 degrees Capricorn and Saturn at 22 degrees Capricorn. So the moon is really conversing with so many planets, and not in the easy aspects, yeah. So we have the harmonious Libra and the harmonious, mystical, artsy, craftsy new moon in Libra opposing the problematic Mars retrograde, and also opposing the Pluto and Saturn. So it's like repeating again and again, repeating this lesson until you have it learned. I think it can be very much up and down. I'm not taking this Mars retrograde very easily, I need to say. Let me know in the comments what you think. How are you guys feeling? Because I'm feeling very low. I sleep, I wake up totally wrecked. I have no energy to do anything. I'm just constantly low. I don't want to start anything, don't want to like go anywhere. So it's really been quite a heavy month. Let me know how it's playing for you in your life. I hope that at least someone is seeing some positive results with this Mars retrograde. But yeah, so this moon, you know, it is engaging. It is engaging so many planets to kind of like, you know, to work with. But because I'm not an astrologer, I'm obviously not going to go like deep into all the aspects of this nation in relation to Pluto and Saturn. For us, it's just enough to know that they're activated, and that, again, probably all those topics related to Mars, all this like frustration, verbal aggression, and everything related to Pluto and Saturn, different types of restrictions, different types of like pondering about all the Plutonian things, so things related to trauma, to wounds, to death, you know, and so on. So it is quite a difficult moon, let's say. But what I wanted to talk about more today is about the archetype of Libra as such. Because what is frustrating me in a way is that in popular astrology we take Libra as everything pleasant. I remember when I was only starting my journey into the realm of astrology, I talked to my friend Andrea, if you're watching, love you girl, and I kind of told her, well, I have my own transits, I know people around me. I've never really was close to Libra. I don't have any Libra friends. I don't really know many people who are Libra. And I was like, I don't resonate with the sign at all. So what is it about? And she told me, well, like, you know, they're pleasant, they're well controlled, very balanced people, kind, like, you know, they're all about justice, looking like taking different points of view, and so on and so on. And I think that's totally right. But I think that by picking up this, in a way, very superficial concept of Libra, we're disregarding very important truth and more like kind of like deeper and mystical meaning of the sign. Because I'm always amazed at how, when you start looking at things holistically, everything starts clicking together. And then you see the whole world is like a massive building in which every screw has its place, every plank or desk is like, you know, in the right place, supporting the whole construction. So it's all in perfect harmony. That's why, you know, in ancient times, ancient philosophers called our universe the music of spheres, because the whole galaxy is like a music of spheres. It's like this musical composition, very mathematical, very proportionate, harmonious, and so on and so on. In ancient times, I probably link the picture a little bit after, Christ or God was very often depicted as an architect. So he would be holding kind of tools which architects were using at this time, like compass, you know, and different kind of like rulers. Yeah, I think it's called ruler and stuff. So to show that the world was built in perfect divine harmony. And what's clicking for me here is that Libra season is happening, is starting at the end of September, roughly around the autumnal equinox in the northern hemisphere and spring equinox in the southern hemisphere. And so it symbolizes the change of seasons. And in the life of our planet, seasons, the fact that seasons are present, represent the cosmic balance. It represents the cycles of our planet, how our planet is breathing. So the sign of Libra happening at the verge of the change of seasons is kind of to remind us of this balance and also of how fragile this balance is. We are all talking about like ecological problems nowadays and all those things like the death of wilderness, the death of species, lots of species are endangered. I think that's the first thing to consider over this new moon and in general during the Libra season, to think of this fragile balance. So our keyword for today is balance, and where we start our thought to unfold in relation to this balance is the balance of our ecumena, of our environment, of the planet we're living on. Because the fact that seasons are changing, that's changing differently. There can be rain season, like drought, like in more like in what you call it, like Latin America and Africa. It can be like 4 seasons in Northern Europe and so on. But in general, Earth has cycles. When those cycles go in disarray, when you can't distinguish between spring and winter, and summer suddenly become too hot and too dry, or too rainy, too wet, this is the signal from the planet that it is out of balance. And Libra is a sign of scales, you know, it is happening at the edge of the seasonal change to remind us of this. So this is probably our first kind of like thing to consider, that Libra, it's not only about pleasant people and pleasantness of all kind and being Venusian and beautiful and all about arts and beauty. It's also about this balance which is underlying everything. And first of all, our well-being depends on the well-being of our Earth. So this is the balance we need to preserve. Think of what you can do. Write your intentions for this new moon in Libra, how you can better take care of the planet, of the earth, of your house, you know, of everything related to basically the preservation of the natural cycles of the planet, be it like recycled or chipping a few euro to support like people who are collecting plastic from the seas or supporting little species and so on. I'm actually for years I've been supporting the Tasmanian Devil Sanctuary in Tasmania, and I have my devils adopted. So for your information, here they are, my 2 devils. That I've never been near Australia or Tasmania, but I find those animals absolutely amazing, and it's really sad that they're endangered. But with the work of those saint people who are taking care of endangered species, God bless them all. Let's all pray for them during this new moon. The second part, I suppose, we can consider, so we're kind of shifting from more global aspect to narrow and narrow aspects, is to think of the balance in human relationship, to think of international conflicts which are happening these days, and also of the personal conflicts, and pray or meditate so that those would be eased, you know, and also to consider the axis Aries in Libra, this balance between self and the others. Because it should be in balance. It's better to be selfish and egoistic, but it's better to be too altruistic either, when you totally disregard your own interests, when you don't know how to say no, when you leave the interest of other people. That's not the way to go either. So we look at this balance of relationship and of the balance inside as well, of the ways to achieve the peace inside, the balance inside. And I think to look at the concepts which unite everything I've been talking about. and why I said that we probably take Libra a little bit superficially these days, and why probably we should consider deeper understanding of this astrological sign. And I think tarot gives us an amazing kind of like arrow showing in which direction to go, like a pointing towards the direction we should start our consideration. Unlike these popular astrologers in which Libra people are pleasant in all aspects, the card which represents Libra in tarot is quite harsh, because it is the card of justice. And the way it is depicted, usually for the iconographical model, the template which is taken is the Greek god Themis, the goddess of justice, of court, of like resolution of conflicts with the use of law. And probably you all know, because nowadays it's a symbol of justice. You can find the depiction of Themis in different courts all over the world, like, you know, in all those high courts, all in all countries pretty much. So that's the goddess who's usually blind, like in this card, she has blind eyes, or her eyes would have like a scarf, scarf around her eyes to show that she's blind, she's impartial. She would hold like the scales in her hands, you know, and here it's also like the owl, the symbol of Athena, Pallas, the goddess of wisdom, you know, of righteous war, of battle for a bigger goal, you know, of righteous battle with respect to your opponent. So so there is this underlying principle, which I think is even underlying principle of justice and fairness as the main aspect of our coexistence on this earth. And where it is, I think, the brightest is actually in my Marielle tarot. The justice card is represented by the Egyptian goddess Maat. And it is essentially about Maat I wanted to talk today, because I talked a little bit in my previous video for the full moon in Aries that in general in ancient society, definitely in Egyptian society, in Roman society, I think as well, in Irish society big time, king was representing the earth, the actions, the health, the moral conduct of a prince, of a ruler, was affecting the earth directly, the well-being of people. So in ancient Egypt, kind of like, I don't really remember, but the ruler, the pharaoh, he was called kind of like the representative of Maat. Don't quote me on this one. Something like that. He is embodying the principle of Maat, because Maat, she is not only the goddess, she is the principle of harmony, of balance, of this perfect equilibrium of different parts of the universe, of society, of a single human life. Maat as a goddess, not as an abstract concept. She was ruling everything we're talking about. She was ruling seasons, she was ruling celestial bodies and their course in the sky. She was ruling ethic conduct of people, the way how our harmonious civilization is built out of chaos. There were special rituals in Egypt. There were plenty of rituals, and it's a very kind of, how to say, it is a very well spread belief in traditional archaic societies that the earth will not survive without us helping her. You know that in Egypt, for example, the sun, it was in the carriage, kind of like traveling across the sky during the day, but then after the night the sun was kind of swallowed into the other world, and then it was boarding the long kind of like canoe, and it was traveling in the realm of the dead, where it was fighting with this big snake. I don't remember its name, this kind of snake which represents chaos, and the god of the sun was fighting him. He of course was successful, and so the sun was appearing again on the sky. And every single night the high priests of Egypt, they were performing rituals during the night to help the sun beat the snake, because if he would lose, then the sun would not rise in the morning, and the world would be in great distress and destroyed and so on. So they believed that we need to help. We need to help through rituals, through prayers, for the world to keep going. Now we know that it's not the sun that is traveling in the underworld, it's a celestial body, it's pretty much independent of our prayers. But still, I think what we should think is that the goddess Maat required similar rituals. So there were like cyclical rituals which were preventing the world from degrading back to chaos. Rituals which were helping to support Maat. And as I said, Maat was absolutely everything, because people believed that the conduct of the king reflects on the well-being of the society, on the well-being of the natural world, and so on and so on. So it is this magnificent, all-embracing, holistic concept of truth. Maat is truth, divine harmony. What I have like some beautiful words written there. Let me check. Yeah, truth, balance, harmony, morality. And this was kind of like this concept. It was piercing, if I can say, is that the right word? Absolutely all areas of human mentality, of human health, of the behavior of different members of society. Everything needed to be in perfect balance. And when I think of Libra, that's what Libra is for me. Not those like Venusian, beautiful, amazing, romantic concepts, but what I know it sounds kind of dystopian, but what at least theoretically we should strive for this principle of Maat being realized on all levels, in all aspects of the world. Feeling responsible that your conduct, your actions affect other people, they affect by the mood changed by you other people, those other people affect society in general. Societies in interaction with governments also affect each other, these are all humans. We as a community, we affect Earth, and the balance of Earth is disrupted. That's what Libra is about, to remind us that every our action has consequences, which can easily bring the whole building in destruction. Call it butterfly effect if you want, but I think it is probably more logical than this. There was, I'm not too sure in which, I think it was like maybe 19th century, early 20th, there was like this Russian kind of theologists and saint, kind of like priest himself, who said that kind of save yourself, and through yourself thousands will be saved. So we start with ourselves and how we are projecting ourselves. So I'm pretty much repeating myself from what I was talking 2 weeks ago. I was talking it in more kind of like this Grail quest about how about the Fisher King and how he is sick. That's why the earth is sick. And when he is healthy, the earth is restored as well. It becomes like all fertile and so on and so on. But with Libra, we can all relate that we are all part of this massive community of all people of the world living on this fragile earth. And the balance of it depends on all of us. And I think when we think that during Libra season we should, I don't know, paint and more and play piano more and be pleasant to people and be all in this Venusian vibe, we forget very often about what it really meant back in the day. This principle. For ancient societies, I believe it was way more important than for us, because they were looking at everything syncretically and holistically, and they understood how everything is interrelated, interconnected, and that this governing principle of Maat should be preserved. And you also probably know that Maat, she is presiding over the court of Osiris in the underworld, and she performs this ritual which is called the weighting of the heart. So scales again, the weighing of the heart. And she had her, like, I don't know, what is it, ostrich? I think it was ostrich feather, and she was putting it in one bowl and the heart of the dead person in another bowl. And if the heart was heavier than the feather, then you would be condemned. But then if the feather is heavier than the heart, which is full of love, full of good deeds, then of course you are blessed. You're blessed. You're going to kind of to spend the rest of eternity with your ancestors in, like, you know, in the blessed part of the Egyptian otherworld. So it is very much, I don't know, I kind of invite you, not me, I think like the moment of this new moon is inviting us to think globally, to think in these ways, to not think that, oh, what can I do? What can I change? I'm not important. I can't change anything. I don't have any significant position in the society. I'm just, I don't know, a baker or a shoemaker or a teacher. No, a teacher is actually very important because they're teaching kids. But look, like, whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't have a job, whatever. You are still interacting with someone. You're interacting at least with one person in your life. If you're an introvert, you are, even if you're an introvert, you are always part of something bigger and of the society. And we have massive responsibility to make this balance in harmony, and to think, to kind of wrap it up, that everyone is important, and the actions of absolutely every single human being, is totally important for the global well-being. So when I was doing the new moon in Virgo a month ago, I offered to start a sort of like new moon cycle of 3 meditations, because that's how we're invited to do. We have like Virgo season. Virgo, it's all about like virginity, purity. So we are purifying. Then for the Libra season, we are balancing. For the Scorpio season, we are symbolically kind of like going to the other world. We are doing the shamanic journey. We are traveling deeper and deeper and deeper. So I kind of offered a small meditation toolkit for the Virgo season, to actually listen to kind of like to get into this purified state, to listen to Tibetan bowls and to pick up certain colors, certain crystals. And we are continuing today. It's our second meditation. I mean, like, I'm not doing guided meditations. I'm not trained for this. I don't have much fantasy to do it. But I'm meditating myself this way. And if you feel inclined to create your own kind of like things, maybe my advice would be useful. So the element we are working with is air. So we are balancing things. The key word for our new moon Libra ritual or meditation are things like harmony, peace, balance, truth. Truth is a very important word, I think, for today. What else do I have? Let me check. Tranquility, tranquility, serenity, conflict resolution, soothing energies and calming anxieties. Because like when we have these anxieties, we are in disbalance, and it affects everything. It affects, it's like domino effect, everything. Then the bigger picture is affected by one dice started shaking, and so those are kind of the keywords to have in your mind. And the element is air, and so the music which I suggest listening to is Koshi Air Bells. I will link a track which I very much love down below in the comments. And the colors which I see kind of like appropriate for this new moon, it is something like blue and pink and silver and mother of pearl, grayish, like, those like pleasant, I would say, think of mother of pearl and what colors it is displaying, and that would be the ones I would pick up, like. And I also have a few crystals, as always, for us to consider, and little mantras or affirmations to use with those crystals. So our first crystal would be Amazonite. Amazonite is the crystal of hope, and as a blue stone, it's related to the crown chakra. And our small affirmation for Amazonite would be, I speak my soul's and my heart's truth. That's very much in the vibe of Maat and justice. To speak truth, to be speaking from the place of truth, from the place of love. Not imposing your truth on anyone, but coming up with your own principles, following them, being trustful to yourself, being loyal to the others. this axis, Aries, Libra, myself and others, and always speaking the truth, because the world would be a much better place then. This second crystal, I have a tiny colored howlite. Howlite is usually a white stone. It is very often colored in blue to it's also kind of, it then becomes the artificial turquoise. But this is actually howlite. Howlite is a very calming, soothing stone. So the mantra which we would use for this one, it is, I am mindful, passionate, and balanced. This tiny howlite. They say that when you have problems with sleep, you can put a piece of howlite under your pillow or next to your table, next to your bed, you know. The third one is Kyanite. Kyanite is a universal stone. It never needs cleansing. It's a stone which cleanses itself and cleanses our own auric field. It is the stone which is rebalancing all chakras. So when you are in disbalance, it is believed that Kyanite brings all the chakras back to balance. It cleanses them and it aligns them. And it is a good stone to have in your jewelry, to work it daily, to wear it daily, you know. And I also have a little piece of clear quartz embedded in it. I was very much lucky with this kyanite. It looks for me like a medieval castle with high towers and this little crystal door. So crystal clear quartz, it amplifies the energies of every stone. So we can ask for the alignment of our inner bodily balance and the balance of our soul to be amplified as well, to be kind of like performed easier and faster. Next one is the gray moonstone, very beautiful, lovely little stone, and the mantra would be, my intuition protects me. Whether we want it or not, obviously Libra and the justice is a very mystical card, you know. It is not the card, I'm sorry, mystical moment, you know. It is nonetheless Libra, as I said, you know, those things slightly superficial, you know, about this beauty and harmony and mysticism and intuition and all those like things feminine and tender and gentle and loving and caring. And this is of course the moonstone, the moonstone, very mystical feminine stone, which is all about our intuition and how we work with our gut feeling. Trust your gut feeling, you know, as I always telling to my clients, you know everything. Cards will never tell you anything new. It's just usually a confirmation of the truth, which you already know. We all know this truth. It's just sometimes it's totally blocked from us, you know. The third one, very usual suspect. I have a big chunk of rose quartz. Rose quartz, the stone of love, the stone of self-love, of unconditional love, of attracting love into your life. And yeah, so the mantra is very simple. I am loved and I'm loved, yeah. I practice self-love and I practice love to the others, and I'm speaking always and acting from the place of unconditional love. Love this one. My friend gave it to me. I think she found it on the beach. In Ireland, on the beaches, we can find sometimes lots of like crystal pieces and clear quartz and so on. And then the next two, we have a kind of like Angelite, the blue stone, and I want to pair it with clear quartz. So with those two, it would be that the Angelite is inviting the protection of your spirits, of your soulmates, of your starseed family, whatever you belong. So it activates your crown chakra and your connection to the invisible realm. And our mantra would be, I trust in the help of my angels and spirits and whatever you believe in, right? And crystal quartz is just to amplify it. I really love it because like when you put them together, they're like the bucket, they kind of like the bouquet of flowers, yeah, because they're just like all together. And the last one is actually was not planned. I just picked it up before I started filming, just to give homage to the Egyptian culture I was talking so much about today. In ancient Egypt, the very much revered stone, same as in ancient Babylonia, you know, was lapis lazuli. There is a very beautiful poem, ancient Babylonian poem of extreme beauty. It is on the internet for free. It's called The Descent of Inanna or Ishtar into Hell, into the other world. And during this descent, all her paraphernalia is described, all her attributes, and she's wearing the high goddess of Babylonians. She is wearing lots of jewelry made of lapis lazuli. So she has like some necklace, some earrings, something else, I don't remember already, but a very revered stone, the sacred stone of Egyptian Babylonian culture, the stone of wisdom, of connection to the high realm. You know, kind of wisdom that priests have, that highly elevated, highly vibrational souls have. This wisdom that you are not at this level of quarrels, you're above. You're above society, you're above conventions. You're kind of like evolutionary, a little bit above the others, not from the point of place of arrogance, but of having a better view. And speaking from the higher place and acting from this like higher conscious and accepting everything, you know. So it is a kind of like stone of this elevated spirit which is in constant conversation with the other realms, which is one head, or sorry, one leg in this world, one leg in the other world. One eye is looking inside, one eye is looking outside. This kind of like duplicity of transcendental and of reality. And this is what this magnificent stone is about. One of my favorite stones with this fantastic rich deep blue color. So those would be the stones for our little preparation for the meditation. And then I suppose if you do visualizations during meditation, you can pick up pretty much whatever suits you, you know. You can think of how you can balance yourself better. You can think how to balance other parts of the universe. When I meditate, I usually kind of like don't really think of anything. But in case you're doing visualization, just pick up something that you know would resonate within you and bring you balance. Some beautiful place where you feel calm, where you feel like serene, tranquil. A place which doesn't necessarily exist on this earth, like totally imaginary place. Or for Virgo meditation, I wanted people to imagine this kind of image of a field from which all the crops were collected, because it was September, was the harvest season. So the crops are collected and there is this calm, quiet kind of field, you know. It gives me lots of peace, this picture, personally. So for Libra, I don't know, because it's all about like balancing and preparing for something bigger, for going deeper into the winter season. You can imagine this, I don't know, maybe snowflakes already falling on this field and covering it in those kind of very gentle, glowy mantle. So whatever works. And yeah, in terms of posture, Padmasana, the lotus pose, it actually looks like Libra, yeah, because you have like your two knees like this, like two balances of scales, and you put your hands on the top of your knees like this, like, you know, you can put in mudra and so on and so on. But whatever you prefer. But yeah, listen to some airy sound like those Koshi bells. And if you have some crystals, so kind of like you can pick up a few crystals for meditation. And yeah, and just to kind of try to reach this state of tranquility and harmony and peace. So let's start with the reading. Our first sign is always the sign of the month. For Libras, by the way, happy birthday, Libras. And the three cards that you got today is Ace of Swords, Ten of Cups, and Eight of Swords. So the moon is happening in your first house. And I'm not surprised that you got two swords. Sword is a suit of the air. And what I see here is that you have, for this new moon, a potent promise of the new beginning, which is going to be very organic and very much like hit home like for you, because it is the new beginning in air, so in the areas of mind, of intellect, and of like, you know, those like thoughtful development. So you can definitely make a step forward, or at least for you it would be super cool to write the list of your intentions for this new moon, to think what you'd like to achieve. Also, because it's a sword, to think what you'd like to cut the ties off, like, you know, probably if you're inclined to some cleansing ritual, do like, you know, in Reiki they use sometimes like, you know, some, and I don't want anyone to get triggered, but they can use like, you know, scissors or small kind of like blades, symbolically cutting off all the kind of things that got into your field, into your ethereal body. So that would be to cut with the past and to look forward to something new with hope, you know. And in case you do this, in case maybe you do, and it should be something on the mental level, so it should be a decision which you make to stop the old and look forward the new ways, to kind of this readiness, this mental openness, open-mindedness towards the new things. And in case you succeed in doing so, which I'm trying to do every new moon, it never works for me because I'm clinging to the past like a Capricorn, I suppose. I don't know, I'm looking for excuse for myself. But in case you succeed in doing so, you have a promise of great fulfillment. 10 of Cups, it's everything you want, abundance, success, like, you know, comfort, peace, tranquility, harmony, everything I was speaking about in the introduction. So like we say it in Russian, we have a proverb that the house is like a full vessel, you know. We say it about people who are successful, people who are rich, have a good harmonious relationship. When everything is working for them, especially in their familial life, we say that it is kind of the house like a full cup. And this is what 10 of Cups is about. But you might fall prey to your own fears, and this is to be avoided, because 8 of Swords, it is this very interesting card when we feel like blinded, we don't see, we are surrounded, we're like in prison of those swords. And what are swords? Swords are our thoughts. This is something, those are like those flickering of our mind, which are telling us, no, you can't leave, you're stuck. It's feeling stuck, feeling like a ton of obstacles around you. But the thing is that the passage is open. You can leave it whenever you want. There is no guardian around. There is never a guard on this card. You remove the thing from your eyes and you walk. You just keep walking. It is a card of being anxious, being fearful and stuck, but only in your head. Everything is only in your head. You actually get from the universe, you get those 2 cards which tell you the passage is free. You can move forward, and by performing this rational choice in your head, by saying, no, I'm not gonna comply and abide to those limitations which I and my thoughts have imposed on myself. I'm free to go, I'm free to choose. It's very powerful, to be honest, combination of cards. Beautiful start, Libras. Again, happy birthday, Libras. Happy belated birthday to people who already celebrated. And yeah, next one is Scorpio. Scorpios, for you, the moon is happening in your 12th house of karmic release, of dealings with the past, of the old karma, of getting rid of things. Okay. Oh, how beautiful. Oh, wow. Look like what we got a couple here. We got King of Cups and Queen of Cups. And King of Cups and Queen of Cups, those are actually court cards. So they might represent people. So they might be you, Scorpio. It is like the person of water sign. So Scorpio, Cancer. Or who else is there? Pisces. So yeah. So what this makes me think, okay, those might be two people in case this resonate. Two people of the water signs, king and queen. Libra is a sign, it's our collective seventh house, the sign of the relationship, of harmonious, balanced connections with other people. So it might speak of some meaningful relationships. Maybe for you, this new moon will actually, some people will bring some love, or maybe it is time to think of you and your partner, especially if both of you are water signs, to think how you can improve your connection emotionally, to maybe do something together, do something mystical, do a ritual together if you feel like, in case your partner has no interest in such things. Just, I don't know, talk together, I don't know, discuss your relationship, do something emotionally pleasing for both of us, something that can unite you. In case you're single, in case you're in a couple, because it's a water sign, so this can speak of a female Scorpio and of male Scorpio, and Libra is a balance. So it might be an advice from the universe for you, Scorpio, to think of your divine feminine and your masculine side in Jungian terms of your animus and anima, yeah? So of your masculine facet and of your feminine side, and try to think how to make them work together in the most librarian way possible, you know, and how to unite them, how to make this beautiful harmonious union of those two, of the king and queen of cups, you know. So it might speak about, as I said, improving relationship with male or female, with the opposite sex, but also of marrying different parts of your personality inside of you, kind of like doing conflict resolution inside. Again, like, you know, if you feel like making some new moon ritual to balance those two parts of you, you know, to kind of like go into deep feminine mystic things, but also balance it with more active, with more male, like yin and yang kind of sort of things. How to say, yeah, in a more yin and yang way, to kind of achieve eventually this underlying harmonious cosmic principle of female and male aspects within you, within the world, and within all the aspects of your life. And because this new moon is very problematic, as I said, because of all those transits, opposition and square, beware of conflicts, of agitated, fiery conflicts. Once is the suit of fire, so it is Mars in Aries. And for you guys, it will be really important to kind of like control your mind, control your mouth, you know, not getting involved in any sort of like verbal conflict or, God forbid, physical contact, but more focus on how to make the both cups full, either with your partner or within yourself. This is very beautiful. I've never seen before that a king and a queen would come in this way right after another in such a harmonious couple. Very beautiful messages so far. I mean, I picked up this, it's the deck which I don't really use that often, but which I very much love. It's Ethereal Visions Tarot. They're done in this Art Nouveau, very delicate, very artsy style, which I thought it might be appropriate for Libra, for all the things like Venus would appreciate, like beauty and art and all those things. Next one is Sagittarius. For you, the moon is happening in your 11th house of friends and partnerships, correct? I think so. I hope so. Okay, Sag. Okay, for you guys, I think it's going to be a really powerful moon with which you might resonate. I think it's also because Libra is it collectively, it's our seventh house of relationship. It echoes a bit 11th house of friends and networks, right? So I think for you, kind of like it is happening in the very right place for you to really work on your relationship, trying to expand your contacts. You got the Page of Cups, Queen of Swords, and Justice. So pretty much like listen to my introduction in case you haven't done so, because it is pretty much what we were talking about. So what is the Page of Cups? Very youthful energy. Page of Cups is Scorpio, Cancer, or Pisces. It can mean a person in your life you should pay attention to. If not, as a concept, it means some sort of like new fresh beginnings in emotional life. It can mean the renewal of your relationships with your friends, the renewal of your relationships with other people, with some networks, you know, with people who are dear to you. It might be also finding something new, because the Page of Cups, he is traditionally associated with the Knights of the Round Table, who are for the quest for the Holy Grail. Actually, the cup which he's holding, yeah, always with the fish. The cup is the Grail, and fish, in ancient times, fish was the symbol of Christ. So it is finding the cup of the divine blessing, of the source of the divine love in your life. And by this, finding a renewal, because what's the purpose of the Grail is that you become awakened, you see things clearly, you see things differently, because you're so much renewed and blessed inside. You kind of learn about the truth of things, and you look at everything with a new gaze. So it is a promise of a potent renewal of your emotional life, of probably learning some new information, maybe finding a new friend even, or maybe finding new ways of being friends with someone. And the renewal of the relationship. And then the Queen of Swords, which is the Queen of Air, so Libra. I have problems today with those signs, sorry. Who is it? Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, yeah? So again, might mean a person who might be important for you, who might bring you some news this month. If not, it is just a kind of reminder to renew your relationship with people through what? Through looking at them from the new perspective, because it is the Queen of Air. She is this lady who very well knows what she wants, who is this very rational, very, in a way, like, intellectual, philosophical mind. So maybe speaking of crystal, something that I told in the relation to the lapis lazuli, how it is kind of looking at other people, acting, thinking, expressing yourself through this position of the elevated mind, and with the feminine, like, energy nonetheless, because it's not King of Swords, it's Queen of Swords. So it is still like, it is air sign with the secondary transits in water. So it is still about like being marrying water and air, so intellect with emotion, with motherly love and attention and care. And you got Justice, you got Miss Libra herself, So renewing your relationship with the other, seeking for friendships, seeking maybe to rebuild your networks, your partnerships, using this overarching principle of justice, of fairness, of truth, in case some shadowy shenanigans is involved in your relationship with people, with your networks. It is a reminder that you need to really work with those Libra energies in order to make it fulfilling, because there is a promise of the renewal of relationship, but only from the positions of justice. It can also be that maybe you need to, what is the renewal, to cut the relationship with people who no longer serve you. So use the sword of the Queen of Swords and the sword of Justice card to cut, oh boy, my cards are falling, to kind of get rid of the connections that are no longer there for you. And when you clear the space, then new people will come into your life, right? So this opposition to Mars retrograde with Pluto and Saturn, it can make us being kind of like offensive, dark, and holding a grudge against people. The current transits definitely are not evoking the best things in us, but definitely the cure is to look and to use the high manifestations of Libra, the principles of equity, of equilibrium, of being balanced, of not being too harsh, of not jumping to conclusions, of being like, you know, acting with poise and with honesty and with, you know, fairness. Then what's there? Capricorn. Capricorn, is it the 10th house for you? It should be, right? Yeah, Scorpio 12th, 11th. Yeah, for Capricorn should be 10th. Let me know if I'm wrong. Okay. Okay, Capricorn's got Ton of Pentacles, of course. Yeah, more earthly energy for you, Capricorns. Because Libra is air sign, but it is, this new moon is conversing with the constellation in your first house, and you are acting kind of the things that are happening in your first house now are counteracting this Libra energy. They are making this beneficial, blessed, divine energy more kind of like clumpy and problematic, although we start very well. 10 of Pentacles. So 10 of Pentacles is achieving certain success in career, like, you know, stability, and in case you're having troubles, maybe it is something to wish for, because if it is happening in your 10th house, if I counted correctly, 10th house is the house of career, of business projects, of your business advancement. And I suppose that if you're gonna write the list of new moon intentions, focus on your career, because like you can really start something new. Maybe think of new ways how to do things in your career, like, you know, or what you'd like to achieve, or if you'd like to change it, because this will be very beneficial after all, because you have a promise of 10 of Pentacles, and it is this kind of like completion of the cycle of Pentacles, completion of the suit. Very lucky card, speaking of like, you know, abundance, good relationships. Actually, although you look like good dialogue between old and new, which is very important for Capricorns. Like Capricorns are all about old things, old-fashioned things. I'm Capricorn myself, I know what I'm talking about. I'm very much kind of like clinging to old order. I'm extremely like, that's why I'm kind of, by my formation, I'm working with archaic culture and so on. That for me was golden age, things that were happening thousands of years ago. But open your gates towards the future. Don't be lamenting the past. The future, this young man also has a promise to bring you lots of good things and realize your full potential. And of course, 8 of Pentacles, very classical Capricorn card. Hard work, to be honest. Yeah, hard work. And in case you're starting something new, starting as an apprentice, you know, just from the very basics, you have a promise that you will be successful in working your way to the very top, you know, working your way up. But this involves a good deal of responsibility, and of once it's card of really, again, hard work and responsibility. Well, for poor Capricorns, work. Every single donation, every single spread you're doing for Capricorns, hard work. But look, guys, there is already light at the end of the tunnel. Saturn is spending his last days in our sign. It's going to move to Aquarius. God bless, you know. Bye. Goodbye. Fare thee well. And I think this is like just saying that, okay, you're climbing this mountain with Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter, who is totally lost, I think. Jupiter, actually, this week, I think it has an interesting transit to Neptune and Pisces. So it is a dreamy moon as well, very dreamy. And Jupiter is totally out of the picture, you know. He is with Neptune. He is something about like expansion of your dreams and illusions. But Saturn and Pluto, they're kind of like very much present. They're expecting the new moon in Libra. And it is lots of work, lots of responsibility again. But you are climbing, you're almost already at the end of your way. You're almost on the top of the mountain with those heavy wands, you know, on your shoulders. And through the hard work, there is a potential of really good things and of not being afraid of the new page of your life. Because after Saturn moves For Capricorns who had their natal Saturn in Capricorn, like myself, Saturn return is gone. And it is gone for all of us because we all have Capricorn now charts, just in different houses. So it is gone. It is gone. It's going to Aquarius. It's going to be a totally new chapter. And it is time to say goodbye to the old. Embrace the new. And embrace the good that this new might bring. The good potential that this new has up in his sleeve. I feel it like Capricorns. This is kind of like, you see, you got 2 10s. You got 10 of wands, you got 10 of cups. 10 is the last number of the suit. Completions. Capricorn, really completions. Because like Saturn's going to move away soon and the stellium is going to be dissolved. So it's going to be easier energy on poor Capricorns. And yeah, we are close to the completion of the cycle. So it is final steps of responsibility, final steps of heavy burden on your shoulders, you know. But after that, it's going to be something different, the new chapter, because after 10 there is again ace, 2, and so on. So Aquarius, right? Aquarius, happening in your 9th house of travel, study. Yeah, am I correct? Yeah, travel, study, and communication, and all those things. Oh, how lovely. Okay, this deck, it actually has 2 extra cards, and you got it. For you, Aquarius 9th house, you got the Well. The Well, it is card 22. It's obviously not existing in traditional tarot. It's the artistic license of the creator of Ethereal Visions Tarot. But it's interesting. We will see it nonetheless. The Well is a very mystical card. And I think because it's happening in your 9th house, and the 9th house is also the house of spiritual quest, of mysticism, of kind of like digging deeper. And this new moon, it is like, you know, difficult moon, heavy moon, but nonetheless, it is a very Venusian moon, and still like, you know, very, and to be honest, as I said, there is an aspect which I haven't looked deep into between Neptune and Jupiter. So there is this also kind of like vibe of this expansion of dreaminess, creativity, and so on. So I think that for you it might be really time to do some, I don't know, mystic work. With the Well, it means what? It means the source. It is the source from what we're all coming, from which inspiration is coming to artists, you know. So it is the Well, it is also something like deep. So it is time maybe to go into some sort of like seclusion, and in case you feel inclined to think of your mystic quest of your soul, of tapping into the Well, the source of everything. If you are artistic, do maybe something artsy. I think the Libra new moon is a good way to do it. If not, we're all artistic in a way. Cooking is artistic, like, you know, or dressing up somehow is artistic as well. So, but it is a bit superficial things that I'm saying, because the deep meaning of the Well, it is exactly tapping into the Well, like, you know, not seeing through the dim light, but seeing in full representation of how it truly is. And for you, this is really kind of like an invitation to go deep into the Well, to maybe do some sort of like psychological consultation, arrangement, pondering, analysis of what's going to be happening, looking deep into the Well of your soul, but also looking deep into the Well of our common source, you know, of the thing, of the source, as we call, for example, in this new age, I suppose, tradition of spirituality, God, like, you know, the source from which we are all coming, you know. Maybe because it's a house of study, it would be a green light for you to go and start studying and learning something related to the Well. So different aspects of mysticism, astrology, tarot, esoteric studies, you know, something like this, or to start learning, to start kind of educating yourself, to deepen your personality. So something to start, like, you know, for you guys. It's not going to be easy because you also got 7 of Wands and 10 of Wands, actually same as Capricorn. So 7 of Wands is speaking about conflicts. I think we will be getting in this reading some sort of like this card's not that rare. We already got 5 of Swords. of Swords, I think, yeah, which is pretty much exactly the same meaning for the card. Look, as I said, difficult moon with this aspect to retrograding Mars. There can be conflicts, misunderstandings, and so on. But just remember that you're above it. And like, you know, I'm surprised, I already spoke about it, that kind of visually so many cards give me this vibe of being above. And this is what Libra is, because like when you think of Libra as a judge, as this underlying overarching principle of truth, of equality, you are speaking from a position of high vibration when you act using those emotions, you know. And so whatever conflicts you are and people who want to beat you with the sticks, you're above them. Even if something is not happening, you have an advantage. You're at the higher position. So you can protect yourself, but you do not attack. And again, probably lots of responsibilities, but same as for Capricorn, end of certain cycles for Aquarius as well, and beginnings of the new, because 10 is the last number of the suit. So your next card, when we think of it, it is going to be Ace, and then 2, and so on. Saturn is going to move into your sign in the first, I think, days of December, something like this. So you really need to prepare yourself for hosting Saturn for so many years to ahead. And by doing so, yeah, maybe remembering that you are coming from the source, that you're always related to the source, to this well of inspiration, of divine love, protection, and so on. And this will give you lots of support, this realization to carry your burdens, to carry your heavy duties and responsibilities, and in fixing your relationship with other people as well. So far so good, right? I think we're getting very, very beautiful messages today, but those cards, they're absolutely gorgeous, and they're so gentle, and they are kind of kind, you know. As I said, like, I think many tarot readers, you know, they use only one deck, and they say that it's just a game, it's a joke that there are so many, it's only for collectors. This makes absolutely zero sense, but I don't belong to that camp. I believe that well, there are, of course, like Barbie tarot and Gummy Bears tarot and so on. Those are purely, I think, tarot for collectors, at least. I wouldn't be able to do it. I think it's just, it's really just a kind of joke, you know. But I think that for those tarot card decks that are done in more classical way, but using different types of not the different kind of styles, yeah, styles of art, those could be really interesting because they give very different vibe, you know. Some of them are deeper, some of them are less deep, some of them give very gentle messages, some of them give very harsh messages, very esoteric and transcendental, or the opposite, very down to earth, you know. This one is really lovely, so airy, so full of light, exactly like Libra. Next one, Pisces. So 8th house of money and transformation. Okay, transformation it is. Wow. Okay, guys, you got death, Wheel of Fortune, Knight of Swords. I guess like 2020 is the year of this card for all of us collectively, you know, but still nonetheless very powerful cards. Yeah, look, Pisces, 8th house of transformation it is. You should work a lot with this moon. Well, my plan was not to do anything for this moon because I thought that preparing this video is enough, but my moon is in Pisces, so maybe I will reconsider this and we'll do some rituals, you know. Death. So the end of one cycle, the beginning of the new, definitely cutting ties with something old, performing some rituals. I don't know what it's going to be, writing what are your clingings to the past relationship, to past workplaces, or your past roles in the society. write them on the paper, burn them under the new moon, bury them deep into the soil of your garden, or just to the wind. Better to the wind. It's an air, Libra is air sign, so better just throw it to the wind, the ashes, you know. You need really to cut everything. Sometimes we think we did, we didn't. You need to cut all your ties to the past for the wheel of fortune to start turning. When the wheel of fortune is turning, it's a good card. It's a card of Jupiter. And actually, yes, for you it makes perfect sense that, let me check. I think I have it here. Yes, there is a trine of Neptune at 19 degrees Pisces and of Jupiter at 19 degrees Capricorn. Trine is a very beneficial aspect. Jupiter is kind. He's this benevolent, beneficial king. And Jupiter in tarot is the Wheel of Fortune card. Yeah, the luck, abundance. Good luck is at your side. God is looking at you and smiling and sending you blessings. You know, you are free to go. And it is trining and very beneficially your Neptune. Neptune is also romantic, artsy, expansive, you know, like card of, like, you know, those like mysticism and deep feelings and deep discoveries and artists and inspiration and divine source and everything, those things. So because you have this positive trine, for you this moon might be, that's why you got all those like beneficial cards. Well, beneficial in a way, you know, but still nonetheless quite beneficial. That in case you choose to get rid of what no longer serving you, you kind of perform this ritual death, then, and like when you think of it, yes, kind of like Jupiter and Neptune are not very much about death. They're more about rebirth, to be honest. But Jupiter is very close to Pluto, you know, which is kind of very roughly at what, 22 degrees Capricorn, is also aspecting this Neptune, also trining. So it is something playing, going through the Plutonian phase and dying. Don't be afraid of this card, it's a good card. And purging and cleansing and getting rid of the waste. And then the Wheel of Fortune starts turning. Neptune is your planet, Pisces, and Jupiter is trining it. Jupiter is giving you massive boost over this new moon. And it is in your 8th house of transformation. Truly a potent time to think of how you would like to transform, or probably do some steps to transform, to make this wheel turn. You are given, I think, the green light to start something big and great. Okay, I might do something. I'm glad now I'm doing it. And then Knight of Swords, Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini. Can mean a person who might help you with your new endeavors, with your death and rebirth process, but it can also mean action. Knight of Swords is all about intellectual action. So the wheel is turning. You need to act something. You need to act something related to words or thoughts with communication. I don't know if Mars retrograde is a good time to start sending your CVs and write things, but definitely it's a good plan to write things. I don't know, write where you want to see yourself in the next year, in the next few months, what you'd like to achieve. Consult maybe other people. So something along the lines of verbal communication, but be active there, because this will turn the wheel. So you get, like, you know, death, so all the old things gone. The wheel starts turning slowly. Jupiter is telling you, time to go, green light. And then you start driving your horse. You just, you know, you have those, like, what you call it, like, on the boots, there are those like hooks. So you kind of, you beat the horse on her sides and it starts galloping towards the future. Some action, yeah, some action required with thoughts, with communication, talking to someone, asking advice, maybe, like, you know, preparing. But also, I guess, getting this kind of like enthusiasm, getting more of like, you know, air inside, air, this agitation, you know, this kind of lightness, I don't know. Something like, you know, starts brewing inside, starts fermenting inside. Get out of the kind of like getting stuck in Neptune, and just like, you know, like when Ulysses was traveling, he came to this you know, remember this island of lotus eaters, and they were eating lotus, this kind of flower of illusion, of dream, and they were all like, you know, kind of constantly drugged, not moving, constantly in the realm of dreams. And Pisces are very prone to this with this Neptunian energy there. But I think that Jupiter, he's like the head of gods. He's coming with the knock, and he's saying, okay, time to go, time to advance. Like, you will be lucky. It's cool. It's really cool message. So we are halfway through, right? We are moving to Aries, 7th house, yeah? So the axis of Libra, Aries, is activated by the opposition of the new moon and sun at 23 degrees Libra, in opposition to the retrograding Mars at 20 degrees Aries. Let's see what are the messages for Aries. You guys got 6 of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, and 7 of Cups. So I suppose that 6 of Pentacles in nature is a very much card of Libra, because it's a card of giving alms. It is actually, you see, in this deck, it has small scales. This is so smart. The artist of this deck is really smart. But he was saying that this deck, it is a result of his own spiritual quest. So he sees all those deep connections. So although it's 6 of Pentacles, it is like the suit of Pentacles, so it's about earth energy. But in its nature, it is about acting from the place of balance and equilibrium and equality of all people, and this equity of all humans on earth. So I suppose, Aries, let me know in the comments how you're feeling with the retrograde in your first house. But the thing is that the Libra, with its noble energy and this airy energy, it is an invitation to rise above it, and to, in case you're feeling low, to find your salvation through the relationship with the others, through helping others, through supporting people who are less fortunate than you are. There are always such people who are in worse circumstances than we are, even when we are at the bottom of the life. We still have like internet and mobile device, in case you're watching me right now, right? So there are always people who are less fortunate. And when you are in this place of aching and being hurt, it's always a remedy to turn your gaze outwards, to see other people and to help them, and to save yourself through helping them, you know. It is a very noble invocation, and I think the Knight of Pentacles is also speaking of it. Like, you know, this one actually has a halo here. He's like, you know, he's like some Saint Michael. He's like the depiction of some saintly knight. So yeah, acting through with this knightly perspective, working through the point of view of this benevolence. And yeah, I will be repeating this word noble, nobility, but that's the vibe I'm getting from those cards. And this is what those two cards, they kind of speak in conjunction, because you are working with the Libra energy, with those little scales, giving to the others, focusing on your 7th house, focusing on your relationship, and being like a knight of Pentacles for your environment. This well-balanced, not harsh, not rush. Knight of Pentacles is the most boring knight. Other knights, they are in flight, they're flying somewhere on their horses, they're in full action. But Knight of Pentacles is about the gentle action, action without visible action, action without immediate result, without immediate gratification. This kind of like doing for the sake of doing without looking for reward. It is, or it came to me just like for this card, you remember, I think it is from this when Jesus was preaching on the mount, or maybe not, but definitely at some point of his mission he said that when you're giving with the right hand, the left hand shouldn't know what you're doing, you know. So yeah, I hope, I don't know how it is in English, I hope you know what I'm talking about. So it is this giving without thinking what you can get back, like, you know, without giving too much thought to it, giving just from the place for the sake of giving. And the caution that you're getting is the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is the card of illusion, and in case you haven't listened to other signs and so on, I mentioned for some of them that during this new moon there is also a trine between Jupiter at 19 degrees Capricorn and Neptune at 19 degrees Pisces. And although it's a beneficial trine, is a beneficial aspect, we are all prone to some sort of like illusions, this Neptunian things, all things like mysticism, all those, like, you know, being hid in the clouds a little bit. And I don't think this is gonna work for you, because those two cards, they're in very harsh this kind of, not conflict, how to say it in a good way, they are kind of like on the opposite poles of the axis. In case you are getting high in the clouds, you're getting, like, you know, too much in yourself, not clearly seeing what's happening, having a mask on your face, like, you know, this dragon represents your inner fears, your discomfort, your inner demons, and you see all those seven cups, those opportunities, and you don't know which one to pick. So this kind of like being not entirely present for you, actually, there is a need for this new moon to be fully grounded, to be in this earth energy, to ground yourself better. And in case you're feeling low because of this retrograde, to think more of the others than of yourself, to stay grounded by this, by reaching out to others, by also seeking help, like, you know, because in the Six of Pentacles, maybe you're not the giver, but you are the one who is taking. It is like, you know, like this Macrobius belt, you know, this loop that give and take. It is a cycle. It is like, you know, two vessels which kind of water is flowing one to another. So it is a mutual process. So you stay connected, don't get disconnected, don't get too much into your dreamy kind of like emotional world. This will give you no good results under this new moon. Your thing is to stay well connected, well grounded, and yeah, and be surrounded by people. Don't try to stay alone during this new moon, harsh opposition to this retrograde. Not an easy energy for you, Aries. Reach out to others, reach for help, and think more of the others than yourself, and then you might be surprised, I think. I suppose this is the message for Aries. I find it fitting because, like, there is this massive opposition happening and square to Pluto and Saturn, but at the same time there is this Jupiter and Neptune trine, which you don't know if it's good or bad, you know. Next one is Taurus. For you, Taurus, it is your 6th house, correct? Your 6th house of routine, of routine, career, health, work routine. Okay, okay, okay. The first card that you got is the Hanged Man. I suppose there might be some delays in your work, in case you're wondering, some sort of like obstacles. Definitely with the retrograde in your 12th house, it's not a good way to change something radically, but it might be an invitation to reconsider your routine under this new moon. Think of it, write the list of intentions, how you would like to see your routine, what you can change, because it is about changing the perspective. You should see yourself and what you're doing daily from the sort of like new point of view. Maybe think how to better time your day, like, you know, how to make it more like productive, you know. You need to change something in your routine. And another card that you got, it is, now that I'm speaking, this deck, Ethereal Visions Tarot, it has 2 additional cards, and you got the second additional card. The first one is the Well, and the second one is the Artist. And the Artist in this deck is seen like someone who is like, you know, not entirely from this world, someone who looks at everything through the different lens, who comes with creative decisions. And I think those 2 cards, they work together. So reconsider your routine, reconsider what you can change in your daily life, but from this artistic point of view, from this, with an artistic license, how to make it more creative, more pleasant. It is also very much Libra energy, because Libra is a Venusian sign, so it is about art and beauty and creativity and thinking out of the box and non-standard decisions and making a choice, making a conclusion, you know. And I think, yeah, that I don't know, I somehow want to repeat myself, but I guess it is kind of clear that you start looking 180 degrees different at what's happening, but you do it in a non-forceful way. You don't need to force yourself. You can come up maybe with some unusual decisions of how to make your workplace more creative, more interesting, you know, or how to change your routine, or how to change the approach to your health from this kind of like creative point of view, because the artist is always an observer. He needs to take this position of distance to see clearly, and I think that's what you're invited to do, to make a step back and look at your routine as a kind of like observer, like from a more subjective point of view, you know, so that you can make kind of like sketch. You know, he has here like paper, he's drawing what he's seeing. He's totally naked. He has wings on his ankles, you know, so he can fly, he can rise above the situation. He can see it clearly from the bird's eye view. And speaking of it, 2 of Wands, new beginnings. And what he is looking at everything from the bird's eye view. He's seeing the new horizon. He's on top of the tower. He sees what's in front of him. And he's considering, he's looking, he's pondering what he can do, where he can go, what he can change, what is the next step he should do. So this new moon for you, Taurus, it's definitely about changing something in your routine, in the way how you're doing your work, how you're interacting with your colleagues maybe, and to do something more beneficial for your health. So something like this, you know. And yeah, I repeated this already like hundreds of times over this like reading, that the one of the stones I picked up for this new moon is the lapis lazuli, you know, the sacred stone of ancient Egypt and Babylonia, and it is about like having this conscious of like high priest, having a higher conscious, having this kind of being one step ahead of the rest of people, you know, but not as a kind of like arrogant person, but just having a better point of view, a higher point of view, like, you know, having a perspective on which you see what needs to be changed. You can see all the minor details. It's like, you know, when you're in the museum to see the picture clearly, the whole of it, you need to step back. Yeah, you can't stand too close to the picture. And oh, actually, a card flipped while I was shuffling. High Priestess, yeah, that's what I was talking about, like High Priestess with the lapis lazuli. Yeah, have this more elevated spirit. I think 2020 in general is inviting all of us to raise our vibrations as a humanity, so that we can reach the balance. We are all facing the massive global problem of the disbalance of our planet, of ecological problems and so on. So we need to start with ourselves. change something in our routines. Lots of signs are getting for this new moon in Libra, this transformation, death, like, you know, change, rise above, like elevate yourself to see it bigger, better picture from the higher position, you know. Next one is Gemini, and it is your 5th house of self-expression and romance and children. And boy, 2 cards came. Okay, we respect that. Okay, interesting. Okay. Oh God, same cards that for Taurus and Capricorn. I wonder why is it so. Okay. The first 2 cards you got very interesting together. They came together. 6 of Swords and 5 of Swords. What is it about? Swords, it is your element. It is your air element. 5 of Swords is about certain conflicts, challenges, having a battle, you know. He won this battle. His opponents, they are going away. He collected all of their swords. He had the fight alone with 5 people, but he won. But he feels empty. His actions bring him no satisfaction, you know. And the next step, how to overcome this challenge, because 5 in tarot, it's always the card of challenge across all suits. You transcend to the next step, which is the 6 of Swords. 6 of Swords, it's moving away. Whatever situations are no longer serving you, situations with conflict. Libra is collectively our 7th house of relationship. So it is about also having a look at your communication, air swords, and of probably, in case this makes you feel empty and satisfied, just move away. Don't pick up fights, don't, like, you know, pick up conflicts. It is time to move away. It is time to sit in this boat, collect all the experience that you got, all this like collection of swords that is here, but don't look back. Just row far away from the shore, move away from this, you know. And when you move, there is a promise to reach 10 of Pentacles. I was watched the little reading for Capricorn, which was before. They also got this card. I talked of it. It is a promise of great fulfillment, of great material abundance and manifestation and success and everything. But I think it is also about peaceful conversation between the old and the new. 2020 is totally a breaker, you know. It probably ends the cycle of 2000 years as we knew it. You, Gemini, are now you are having South Node in your house, which is actually also aspecting, because South Node is now 21 degrees Gemini. So I think it is what is it, sextiling, I guess, it is sextiling the new moon, so it is also powerfully activated. So it is the way to make peace with your old and look forward to the new things. And it is also an impetus for us as a collective to kind of say goodbye to all the Capricorn energies, to all those energies of authorities and all this old world order, and look forward to the new Gemini energy, to the new world order, as symbolized by the South Node North Node of collective destiny in Gemini. So here the old and the new, they're conversing in peace. There is this dog, a symbol of friendship, you know, and they are finding the way to work together. There is the wisdom of the old and the energy of the new, and they're working together to achieve the full potential. And watch also will be the Taurus reading before, because Taurus also got this 2 of Wands card. 2 of Wands is the card of new beginning, of new creative beginnings. Wands is fire, is our creative energy of moving forward. This is an extremely beautiful card. It's a man, he climbed a high tower to have a better point of view, to have a better perspective. He looked at the horizon where he's ready to sail his ship, you know. And what the introduction as well, because I was talking about the kind of like this Libra being associated with this Egyptian principle of Maat, And Maat is associated with this elevated high consciousness, with accepting that everything in the world, the whole world, our planet, nature, cycles, seasons, celestial bodies, astrology, relationship of people, it all works holistically because there is this underlying principle of balance. But in order to see it, we need to raise our vibration. We need to raise higher, and that's Two of Wands. You need to climb this tower in order to have a better point of view. So it is very much all about raising your spirit and elevating. And when we started with this Five of Swords, with this challenge and conflict, this courage gets resolution in the Two of Wands, because when we see it as a narrative, so you sail away with the Six of Swords, and then you find yourself in a totally new place, like Ulysses, he sailed away from Circe, from this goddess who was holding him hostage, and he found himself at more beneficial places, which kind of gave him experience. He raised higher than himself, and he found, salvation. That's how he returned to Ithaca after all. And so for Cancer, with the new moon in the 4th house, you got 6 of Cups, you got 7 of Swords, and 10 of Cups. I think it's going to be a good moon for you, because it's happening in your 4th house, and Cancer is our collective 4th house. So it is the energy getting activated in your life, which you feel very comfortable with. 6 of Swords, 6 of Cups, is the card of nostalgia, of childhood, of soulmate energy. So it is definitely an invitation to maybe reconnect and reconsider something. Maybe go in your mind back to your childhood and see which emotions this raise in you. Because at the same time, in your 7th house, there is a stellium in Capricorn. So you are doing still a hard work. And 7th house is the house of relationship and connections. And Libra is our collective 7th house. So I guess that you might need to kind of in terms of your house, of your household, have a look at your relationship from your childhood with your parents, with your siblings, how does this resonate with you? Is it a point of conflict? Is it a point of comfort? Something needs to be resolved in terms of looking back and having those kind of peace with the past, because Libra is all about peace and tranquility and conflict resolution. And if this is something you would be inclined to work with childhood traumas, or to work with childhood good memories, to find your peace of serenity and tranquility, remembering your happy childhood, this is definitely a thing to do. And you're getting 7 of Swords. It can be the card of deceit, of betrayal. If those two cards work in conjunction, if you have some grudge from your childhood, from your past, from the relationship with the others, in terms of being betrayed, or some things were not very clear, you were told lies, lies were told behind your back, you became subject to some sort of falsehood, unequal, uneven treatment, this is something to let go, because this card is interesting. The card of deceit, betrayal, disbelief, shadowy business, but with it being swords, it's kind of card of mental clarity. And 7, it is a card of the break. It is the number of the breakthrough. So it can also be about doing things differently. And we are getting lots of messages for this new moon, for all signs, for starting to ponder what you can change, how you can change your routine in your house, probably in your relationship with your family. What are the new approaches that can be found, especially if you're in conflict with someone, in some sort of uneasy situation, then you are really invited to find a new way. So because our relationship are projections of how we feel inside. If you're doing things the same way, the result will be the same. When you start doing different things, the outcome might be also different. Okay, it might be the same, but it is more likely to be different than if you consider the same line of behavior. So it might be about changing something, but the outcome is very positive. So 10 of Cups, peaceful relationship. So I think if you talk about fourth house, like family and siblings and so on. The Six of Cups and Seven of Swords, when you work through those like childhood probably offenses or like some memories, when you make peace with them, when you make something good, when you learn your lesson there, then like, you know, you can move forward. I think that you will have very nice moon. Maybe under this new moon, if your family is inclined, you can do something together, something to feel as a family, something to kind of like tap into this Libra energy together, this noble energy of equality, listening to what other people are kind of like thinking. Libra is air, so it is about communication, maybe discussing something together, maybe reading a book together, maybe talking to people in your family to kind of appease all the sharp corners, to kind of make those memories of the past good memories, eventually focusing more on the good than on the bad. You see what I mean? Again, changing your focus, changing your perspective. This is all very Libra energy. We're getting lots of messages about it, about changing the way you look at things, looking from the different angle, or going higher up to the next stage of your consciousness, you know, in order to see things differently. I had a very uneasy relationship with my parents when I was young. It became better when I moved to a different country, but now I kind of learned to see themselves. The older I become, when they were my age, like, you know, they kind of had me, and I don't know how to deal with people well, and they didn't know either. So kind of using your own experience to redeem other people in a way, and find this Libra like balance and harmony in your relationship with the others through, like, you know, projecting your own experience to them, and forgiving people by knowing that we're all humans and we all make mistakes, you know. So next one is Leo, right? Leo, yes. For you, Leo, it's happening in your third house of communication. Oops, again, two cards came. Third house of communication. Ooh, oh, okay, wow, okay, huh. Leo, this is gonna be some amazing moon. Look at the first two cards that came together. I'm shook. The star and the moon. Amazing, isn't it? In case you want to do some astrological ritual over this new moon, go for it. But look, this is so beautiful. Look how beautiful those cards are. So the moon is all about get connected to this moon. Read about it, listen different astrologers about it, what they have to say, come up with your own solution for this new moon, go do moon gazing. You should work with this Libra energy, and the way you should look at it is that hopefully you will get some source of hope from it, because it's happening in your third house. And the third house is the house of communication, and Libra, it's an air sign, and in tarot, airs uses swords, and swords are about intellect and philosophy and communication, and everything word related, and everything related to communicating and expressing yourself as well. I think if you're inclined, it might be well an offer to do something creative, to write in your journal. Definitely write a list of your intentions for this new moon, of hopeful intentions. Make a wish board, write what you want to come true, and I think you're given full license. You can go crazy in your planning. You can just be fully invested in dreaming, you know, and in thinking what your heart truly desires. Beautiful messages, you know. Just beware of maybe getting like too lightheaded, too kind of like moon-like. But star is the most beautiful card in tarot. It's the card of soulmate energy, angelic energy. So ask your spirit guides, angels, to show you the right way, to support you on your journey. And Yeah, you see, she is dipping her feet into the water, and water is the well, it's the source of creation, inspiration, source of the other world, source of godly love, like, you know, unconditional love, this emotional serenity. So definitely a good time for you, Leo, to meditate, to choose your words wisely, to work with words, to communicate from this position of the star and the moon, you know, of unconditional love and mercy and this divine feminine loving caring energy, you know. But then you get the emperor, and the emperor is Aries, and also Leo, it is you, because like your royal sign. I'm always speaking of emperor as of this noble figure, of this ideal emperor, like King Arthur type, you know, who is so merciful and just and taking care of everyone. And I think that for you, Leo, it is maybe to think more about the power of the words. We don't always think of how powerful are the words, and that in fact, by having the gift to speak and to communicate, we are all charged with those kingly or priestly functions of speakers of truth. So we need to choose our words wisely, because we need to know that we can wound with words and we can bless with words. And especially if you consider God, like you got, I can't believe, you got three major arcana, and you got the court card, the Knight of Cups. Again, like the Knight of Cups, it is very much the Grail cycle archetype, you know. It is knights, very often they're having the cup, kind of the Holy Grail cup, like, you know, so it is like Sir Parsifal or Galahad, you know. And this implies those qualities of knightlyhood, of this nobility, mercy, openness to the others, this being fair to your opponents. And especially with this Mars retrograde, when I said that we can feel very low, we can be not our best, we can be sometimes maybe rude or offend other people unwillingly, then I suppose that the good way to work with it is really kind of like to tap into what is your leonine royal nature, you know, because you're naturally very generous, you're naturally very, like, you know, attentive and careful to other people and trying to help, and people you consider being part of your sphere, of your court, you know, you take care, like good king takes care of the subject. And I think with this Libra moon, it is really a fantastic, magnificent, mystical moon for you. And the vibes I'm getting from those cards, they're all very much Leonine, because there is this creative golden star, you know, and the light of the moon, and the emperor in his kind of with golden orb and golden kind of staff and cross, and the beautiful knight with the halo around his head with this kind of solar symbol of sainthood. So it is kind of like, you know, remembering who you are, elevating your vibration, communicating clearly, reaching out to people. And I think that this new moon would be fantastic, would be just it. In case you're feeling low because of this Mars retrograde, I think you will get a massive kick, like, you know, a massive kind of like kick in the good way. I see all those cards, it is as if, like, you know, a wilted flower suddenly starts to grow and bloom and open and open and open. Absolutely magnificent. Wow, absolutely magnificent cards. Then last but not least, Virgo. For you, Virgo, it's second house of self-value and money and all those things. Virgo, you came to your own reading, the Hermit. So you got Eight of Swords, Page of Wands, and the Hermit. The Hermit is you, Virgo. So you Virgos might feel quite low, well, I'm a Virgo rising, so of course I'm very much invested into my Virgo readings always. But yeah, I suppose feeling a bit stuck, feeling a bit trapped, you know. I mean, Virgos, when you think of it, Virgos are very proactive people. Virgo is all about service. It is about action. It is about being with people, helping people, being here and there, like, you know, feeling important through the point of, like, you know, reaching out to others, serving, being part of the community, being involved in things, seeing things, like, you know, meeting people, and so on, so on. Now we are all kind of limited in this. We're limited in how much our souls and our minds might be nourished, might be actually fed by new experiences, by new things. We have nothing, mostly because of those, like, lockdown and all those restrictions for travel and so on. So we might feel stuck also because of this, and not fulfilling our destiny, you know, not progressing. But the hope that this card gives is that the swords which surround her, that this poor figure, she feels like in prison because there are swords like put in the earth, like around her, so that she feels like encircled in those like sharp swords. She has no escape, but she does have an escape, you know, because the passage is free. You're free to go, you're free to liberate yourself. Swords, it's like the suit of air of our thoughts. You create this prison yourself by your thought forms, by your negative thinking, and it's time to liberate yourself from it. And you're getting the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands, new beginnings, like, you know, new useful energy. It can be Sagittarius or Aries as well. If this person is important for you, reach out to those people. If not, if it is an abstract concept, it is about starting something new. It is about rising your fiery vibrations from this to this, by starting something new, something creative, something related to expressing yourself. There are always ways to express yourselves, like, you know, when you are not low, when you are kind of like more feeling more energized, you know where to go and where to apply yourself to feel useful and to feel like, you know, that you're fulfilling your destiny. So it is also about being hopeful and looking, like, you know, at the new roads which are opening for you, and, like, you know, knowing that you're fully equipped to go and find other ways to serve, other ways to be heard and to express yourselves, because you have like the road stuff. You're good to go, I would say. Like, you know, it's only that you should kind of cleanse all this negative thinking, all those like self-destructive thoughts, by this clean fire of the Page of Swords, by this youthful smile, useful, hopeful, like, you know, energy of looking forward on your path with hope and moving forward and going there. And then you came to your own reading, the Hermit. So when you're surrounded, this is kind of to sum it up, when you're surrounded by darkness, remember that you have a source of light inside, and inside of this lantern of Hermit there is always a star, which echoes the star card of the major arcana, the star of angelic soulmate energy and the divine help, and this light inside which is always burning while we are alive, you know, light of our soul. So for this new moon, maybe it is time to kind of like isolate yourself and actually ponder on things, like, you know, of what can be done for your self-value, for your moving forward in your career, for your, like, you know, being present into the world. And you will be doing it in the energy which kind of resonates with you. I think that Libra energy, which is very noble and all about like others and serving others, it resonates with Virgo energy. And by then, remember that there are ways to be liberated. Yeah, I suppose for Virgo, the word that I'm getting is liberation, you know. And before we wrap it up, I just wanted to get an oracle deck, an oracle card for us as the collective. We're using this one, very pretty piece oracle of Tony Carmine Salerno. I really very much love his art. See the stunning, very kind of like Also very airy and very kind of art, you know, very much. So also on the back of those cards, you see there is this kind of this dove with this olive branch, you know. Should I picked up this card? Yeah, okay, let's consider I picked it up because I really love it. It's truth. It's exactly what I said. That's our keyword for today, the Maat. Maat, the truth, the underlying principle of truth. I don't know, just to say I spoke the whole introduction from that the truth is our word of the day. Yes, very true. Truth. Libra as truth, you know, as this. Will repeat myself for those who skipped introduction. Yeah, of this principle of Maat, of the divine truth, which brings the cosmos, which brings order out of chaos, which supports the daily lives of animals and humans and plants on the planet, which supports the celestial bodies in the sky, supports the balance of the planet, of the society, of interhuman relationships. And we should all pray for this. We should all pray for truth. So the truth is present. And look at this card. There are kind of like stuff like it is done in a very impressionistic style. Yeah, this picture, it is done, you know, there is this style, it's called pointillism, that you draw with like points. So you do like pictures by making points, so that kind of those points, they all merge together. So oneness from separated entities, you know, when thousands of points create one flower, you know, on those pictures, or one picture, you know. And on those kind of impressionistic pictures, everything's kind of flowing into each other. There are no like sharp edges. All the colors, they kind of create this kind of flowing river, which manifests itself as a image which makes sense. I hope it makes sense what I'm talking about. Because like with those droplets being all over the card, it reminds me of this Maat, of the principle of truth, which is perceiving, or not perceiving, kind of like piercing. That's not piercing, there is a much better word for it, but I can't remember. Kind of absolutely going through everything, you know? Being present in everything. And yeah, this is extremely dystopian, that we all share, we're all the same, we're all one, like, you know, that. And we are all same, we're all brothers through this. And we all are manifestations of the same source and same spirit, and that's our truth. And by then we should seek more balanced approach to all the beings on earth and everyone. I'm amazed how this card came, because yeah, that's Maat, the truth. That's what this name means. Amazing. Okay, on this positive note, I was very happy to do this reading for you. I think it's a beautiful reading with lots of blessings for us. The new moon is going to be, I think, quite heavy, but we all got very distinct, crispy, clear message for all of us. We need to raise our vibrations. We need to be one step up, to see the bigger picture, to be more accepting and more kind of, I don't know, open to others, and find the balance and harmony and serenity through this. I hope you would have a beautiful moon. I'm wishing you all the very best. I love all of you very much. Absolutely love all your comments. Thank you so much for writing me. And as always, leave your comments below, and I'll talk to you in 2 weeks' time. Bye.